Hello, this is Pinkietessa's A-Z of London. It's M for monument. There are a ton of monuments knocking about London, but none as tall and most not half as old. It was erected in 1671, completed in 1677 as a permanent reminder of the Great Fire of London, but also to celebrate the City of London's rebuild. The monument is just not accessible to people in wheelchairs or those wobbly on their pins. With that in mind, there is a super-duper live video cam area at the foot of the monument where the panoramic views can be appreciated without any effort or bother. This historical feature is located at the junction of Monument Street and Fish Street Hill. The height of the column measures 202 feet. This is the exact distance, as the crow flies, from the origin of the Great Fire of London in Pudding Lane. As every darn good English school child should know, the Great Fire of London began in the shop of Thomas Fariner, the King's baker, on Sunday the 2nd of September 1666. He was burning toast for a midnight feast at the time. His speciality was cordon noir. Possibly. The fire raged for 4 days until Wednesday the 5th of September, decimating the greater part of the City of London. It was believed that about 6 people died. Nowadays that is thought unlikely, as there were probably many more casualties, as the poor and middle class find no record in history. Plus the heat of the fire would have cremated many victims. The only buildings to survive were those built in greater part of stone. It was Sir Christopher Wren, Surveyor General to King Charles II, the one who didn't lose his head, and Wren's wee pal, Dr. Robert Hooke, who drew up the design for the colossal Doric column in the antique tradition. It is still the tallest isolated stone column in the world, and the finest. It also fits into my category of dead pointy things in London. Inside the column there is a cantilevered stone staircase with a total of 345 steps. There are 311 steps to the viewing platform, which is good to know and just exceedingly fab for the gams. Above that platform is found Robert Hooke's simple copper gilded ball with flames sprouting the top, symbolising the Great Fire of London. Hooke's gilt urn of fire cost £325. It could have cost them a lot more. You've no idea what other rubbishy ideas they wanted to put up there. Not only was Wren a distinguished architect, he was a notable English mathematician. Thus, it was nothing less than expected that he would envisage the structure doubling as a scientific research centre. The central shaft was constructed with the intention of housing a zenith telescope. This type of telescope is designed to point straight up at the zenith, which is the point directly above, derived from the Arabic no less. It was also anticipated that the column would be used for gravity and pendulum experiments. There was also an underground laboratory for the workers to observe within, connected to the shaft. This is still accessible via the ticket booth. The gilt urn, way up high, has a hinged cover that opens the shaft up to the heavens. Even the steps in the spiral staircase are 6 inches high, allowing them to be used for barometric pressure studies and right good for tap dancing. But this was all academic, as the ceaseless vibrations caused by the traffic scuppered it as a purposeful place for scientific research. Wouldn't you know it? Thereby it had to make do with being a place of historic interest, with some smashing 360-degree views of the city, equalled by no other for some considerable time, due to the 160-foot high public gallery. That is, until helicopters, I would imagine. Since the recent revamp, a digital camera was installed on the top of the monument, updating every minute and running permanently. It provides a record of weather, building, and just all-round activity activity forever and ever, or until it goes horribly wrong. But in some way, a return to Wren's practical use for the column. There's a strange phenomenon that attacks people when standing atop a thing of height. There is a tendency to fall off, sometimes intentionally, sometimes in an accident-prone sort of a way. After the sixth suicide of 1842, the suicides taking place over a period of 54 years, the building was temporarily closed, whilst the gallery was enclosed within an iron cage, as it is today. Nay, falling off for me then. The monument is constructed in Portland stone from the Isle of Portland on the Dorset coast. More of a peninsula, the Latin for almost an island. The narrow strip of land that connects it to the mainland is called an isthmus. I cannot help but love a good isthmus. The monument consists of a pedestal about 21 feet square and 40 foot high, with a plinth 28 feet square and a fluted shaft 120 feet high and 15 feet in diameter. On the abacus is a balcony encompassing a moulded cylinder which supports Hook's flaming urn. An abacus, in architectural terms, is a flat slab forming a division at the top of the column, like so. At the bottom of the column on the box plinth are 4 panels. On the north side it describes the Great Fire and all that was lost. It was written in 1677. A final sentence blaming the Catholics for this disaster was added in 1681, but removed again in 1830. In general, Catholics are usually blamed for everything, especially plots, which they are particularly good at. On the southern panel, the description explains what Charles II did after the fire and the measures taken to achieve this. The city was resurrected in record time as everyone got going with a ton of haste. The east panel lists the mayors during the period of the monument's build. The sculpture on the west panel facing Fish Street Hill is a bas-relief. It's by Cassius Gabriel Cibber, and hugely allegorical, representing the king affording protection to the desolate city and providing freedom to its rebuilders and inhabitants. Hey-ho! The total cost of the monument was £13,450, 11 shillings and 9 pence. On the 30th of July 2007, the monument was closed for 18 months of restoration work. £4.5 million later, it was reopened on the 16th of February 2009. Restoration work on average takes place once every 100 years. The last was in 1888. Every year about 100,000 people climb up to the viewing platform for a VADA and a darn good cardiovascular workout. Come on, you too can get monumentarian. And this has been my exceedingly marvellous M for Monument.
Of London town.